Welcome back tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at the weather going out towards the start of April in today's video. Looks like we've got some northern blocking coming along as we're heading off into April. Now, whether that ever gets us cold, I'm not sure. The models are a bit uncertain about that because it's a long way off, but certainly the signs are that northern blocking is beginning to come into place across the northern latitudes, and northern blocking is really what we have to have in this country to get it cold. It isn't too early in April, or it isn't too late, I should say, in April to get some really quite wintry weather, so we do have to keep an eye on what's happening with this northern blocking. Now, before I get on with the video, just want to mention the advertising. There's video ads on my pages at GazWeatherViz.com. If you press play on the video ad, you'll be supporting GazWeatherViz.com. Thanks very much for doing that. The competition started yesterday, so if you would like the opportunity to win a rain gauge worth £24.95, I'll just get rid of the camera so you can see rain gauge in all its glory. There it is. Thanks to our friends at MetCheck Weather Instrumentation who have supplied this rain gauge. If you want the opportunity to win that fabulous prize, just enter the prize draw. All you have to do is email your name and address to gazweatherviz@gmail.com. You'll go into the prize draw. We'll be drawing out a random name on Sunday in a video on Sunday evening. So just enter the prize draw with your name and address, gazweatherviz@gmail.com. And that's all you have to do. You go into the prize draw and you could win a rain gauge worth £24.95. Not every website is giving away prizes for free, I can assure you of that. So let's have a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly charts. These are for 8 to 10 days time. We've got the ECMWF here on the left. The GFS is over on the right. These are the 500 millibar mean flow charts for 8 to 10 days time, which will be taking us to something like the 4th of April. So it's a little way away. It's into the start of April. But what's most evident on both the charts is that we've got this area of red setting up over Greenland. Greenland is just there, and we have got an area of red and orange on both the ECMWF and the GFS setting up over Greenland. That is proper high pressure sitting over Greenland, extending up into the Arctic. Proper northern blocking. If we'd had that in the winter, it would have been a completely different winter. It wouldn't have been so wet and mild. We would have had proper cold conditions. It is going on into April, so it's not going to get that cold as it would have done if it had happened in January. Nevertheless, there's still plenty of cold air up in the Arctic to feed down. It just depends whether that northern block gets in an exact position to tap into that. Notice that both of them also have this very deep trough setting up over Scandinavia, and western parts of Russia will be turning much colder for those areas, Scandinavia, western Russia, as we go through into the start of April. At the moment, it looks like the cold air will bleed down into Scandinavia and West Russia. May not affect us too much, but it's very early days on this. We do have to keep an eye on it because it's getting very interesting in terms of what's happening with this northern blocking. Now, in response to the northern blocking, the Arctic Oscillation is trending negative. Haven't seen it a lot through the course of this winter going in that direction, but here we go. This is the chart for the Arctic Oscillation, the observed and forecast chart. The black line here is where the Arctic Oscillation has been. The red line is where, or red lines are where the Arctic Oscillation ensemble is forecast to go. Remember, this is just a reflection of the state of the atmosphere. It's not driving anything. What's driving it all is this blocking up here that's setting up over the pole. So this is just index that reflects the fact that blocking is setting up. We can see there's definite trend there with those red lines to take the Arctic Oscillation down at least to neutral territory, and really the suggestion I think there is that we are probably going to go negative with the Arctic Oscillation as we go into the start of April. Again, the North Atlantic Oscillation, it's the same idea. It isn't a driver of anything. It's an index that reflects the state of the atmosphere. We're positive with the North Atlantic Oscillation at the moment, as we have been with the Arctic Oscillation. And besides, we're not going to go quite as negative with the North Atlantic Oscillation as we are with the Arctic Oscillation. Nevertheless, there is a trend downwards as we go through to the start of April. There's April the 1st just there, and the red lines are definitely telling us that the North Atlantic Oscillation will be trending more towards at least neutral as we go through to the start of next month. So let's have a look at the charts. This is the chart from the GFS model for Saturday. Already got quite a lot of northern blocking there. Got high pressure over Scandinavia, extending out to the north of Scotland, going up to Iceland and Greenland, bringing in a generally easterly flow. Now, what's important with this is that the origins of the air with this sea are actually quite warm, because if you follow the isobars back, they're going down into towards the central part of the Mediterranean. So despite the fact we're in a generally easterly flow at the end of the week and into the weekend, it's going to be quite mild, to be honest, and that just tells us really that it's too late now for easterlies to bring snow and really cold conditions to this country. You you really do have to get a northerly in April to get snow and cold conditions. Easterlies in April, generally it's too late, and the reason because this air from the Mediterranean is getting caught up in the mix. So here's the temperatures for Saturday. We're seeing the temperatures climbing up into the mid-teens there across the British Isles. Very warm for central parts of Europe, Germany, close to 20 degrees. As I say, the reason that's happening is that the origins of the air are coming up from the central part of the Mediterranean. If it was January, if the continent was frozen and snow-covered, that air from the Mediterranean wouldn't really have much impact. It would still be very cold even with that. But because we're so late on now, it's too late really to get a lot of cold weather from easterly winds. So what we've got to do to get it cold and to get snow in April is to get that high pressure over Greenland and to shoot the cold air down directly from the North Pole. So let's have a look at what happens as we go out beyond Saturday on the GFS. This is Sunday's chart, and we've got high pressure there around Iceland, so it is getting up towards Greenland. Where does it go? Well, it extends out from Scandinavia towards Greenland as we go through to Monday the 31st. Notice the cold air with the northerly starting to push down in towards Scandinavia and western parts of Russia. That's the sort of idea we've got to get. We've got to get that high pressure more over towards Greenland so that that northerly can come down across the country. It's still not particularly cold on Monday the 31st of April. Starting to bring low pressure into the south of that high pressure, probably bring rain in across England and Wales. There's the high pressure on Tuesday, April the 1st. Again, it is sort of in the northern latitudes. The cold air is bleeding down into Scandinavia and western parts of Russia, but that's where it's going. The high pressure is not centred properly over Greenland just yet. Let's go through to day 10, Thursday the 3rd of April. Well, then signs are actually that we're starting to bring in more of a southwesterly flow, and the northern blocking is beginning to ease off. I'm not sure about that. This is the latest run of GFS 6 o'clock. The midnight run was rather different to this and wanted to bring that colder air closer into the country. So I'm not sure about that, but that's quite right, the day 10 chart. But certainly on this particular GFS run anyway, it never gets particularly cold, despite the fact that we have got quite a bit of blocking. And of course what you have to keep in mind as well is that the models are always more progressive, or very often more progressive in breaking down northern blocking compared to what actually happens. They want to sort of return to the default setup. The default setup is westerly or southwesterly. So whenever you have northern blocking and then models start breaking down, there's always a question mark about that anyway, particularly at the extended range. This is the ECMWF. This is for Sunday, and again that high pressure extending from Scandinavia through towards Greenland, across Iceland. What does the ECMWF do with that high pressure? Eventually it does sailing up towards Greenland. Notice that very cold air coming down with the northerly into Scandinavia and western parts of Russia. As we move through to day 10, Thursday the 3rd of April, we're definitely taking that high pressure up towards Greenland much more than we do on the GFS. Really cold pools starting to set up over Scandinavia. We're very close there to tapping into that cold air now on the ECMWF Day 10 chart. If you have a look at the upper air temperatures, there's the -5 isoform just there, just to the north and the east of the country. Very cold air setting up to the north of Scotland and over Scandinavia. We're really, really close there to tapping into that cold air. And of course, with these areas of low pressure trying to come into that cold air, there will be the threat of rain, sleet or snow. So that is very close to being a really cold and wintry scenario, certainly in terms of April anyway. The GEM, finally, the Canadian model, here's the chart for Sunday. Again, the high pressure centred more or less over Iceland at that point. Again, it's not particularly cold. Winds are from an easterly direction, but the origins of the air are from the Mediterranean, so it could actually be quite mild over the weekend. As we head into the start of next week, that high pressure again is centred around Greenland and Iceland. It's just getting exactly right to tap into that northerly air at the moment. April the 1st, the cold air is going down into Scandinavia and western Russia, where it will be very cold and wintry. As we go through to day 10, Thursday the 3rd of March, bringing this low pressure through. Again, it's still really quite mild. It's not cold, but as we push this low pressure through, you would assume that these northerly, northeasterly winds will start to bring this colder air down into the country. We're very close again, perhaps not quite as close as on the eastern air, but still very close to bringing that cold air down from the north and the northeast. So I've got to keep an eye on this as we go through into April. It may come to nothing. I think we're definitely going to get the northern blocking setting up. It may come to nothing in terms of bringing us these colder conditions. We've got to get everything exactly aligned. Right, of course, if it was depths of winter, it wouldn't be a problem. It'd already be cold with the easterly wind that's coming in this week. But it's not, it's April, so I've got to get things exactly aligned. But if we do exactly align things up, April is not too late to get significantly cold and wintry conditions. You can get, particularly for the north, quite snowy conditions even into April. So we've got to keep an eye on it, see what happens. I'll be updating, obviously, over the next few days about this developing scenario. But certainly, very interesting charts this morning. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.